I think viewers should come see the show because the work being done, the acting is so excellent. So it's just a joy. It's funnier than you'd expect for a drama, especially a two-hander drama of this style, slice of life. Um, and I really think that the audience reception so far has been that everybody is so glad they came to see it. I think the theme of the play, being reminded to take care of your neighbor, to take care of your friend, to reach out to a stranger, to have a moment of kindness or to connect with somebody is something that we are all needing. So I feel like it's a good way to be reminded of your humanity in a bit. And it's a fun night out. And I think that everybody should try to come see it if they can. Hi, my name is Faye Viviana, and I am the director of Lost Lake at the Beverly Hills Playhouse by Crimson Square Theater Company. If you'd like to learn more about our show and our theater company, please stay tuned for this video. I first heard of Lost Lake by David Auburn. I believe it was in 2018. I'm always reading plays. I am the executive producer for Crimson Square Theater Company, so I am constantly reading plays, constantly trying to find new material, trying to plan a season, find good shows, especially because we're a pretty small venue. So, finding shows that we can really pull off on our stage with the resources that we have. And so I came across it. We like two-handers because they fit well on our sort of intimate stage. And I thought it was a beautiful little piece. And at the time I was trying to get a specific director interested in it, and it didn't quite pan out, just timing wise and things like that. So I have been hanging on to it since. I've always thought it was really a lovely slice of life drama. And so at the start of this season, we were trying to plan the season, and we couldn't get the rights for the first few shows that we wanted, or we did, and then they took them back, I guess. I don't know how you explain that, but one of them was reopening on Broadway, so they don't want anyone doing small venues of it for a year, and we just were having all these kind of weird issues trying to get the shows going that we had initially planned. And so in the middle of a late night panic, I was like, oh my God, I got to find a show. Like, the season is starting. At this point, it was like starting in like 5 or 6 weeks, which is already late. Normally we get at least 8 weeks of rehearsal. So it was just this terrifying, like, oh, we're going to have to delay the season, or I'm going to have to nix the first show. Like, what am I going to do? And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, I wonder, I'm just going to check on the rights for that piece. Because I remember it was a good piece. So I checked, and we got him 2 days later, and I called the cast and I said, hey, can you do a read for me tomorrow? And both of them work quite a lot in TV and commercials. So it was a miracle. They both said, yeah, we could do tomorrow. And I called the owner of the theater and I said, can you come tomorrow? And he said, yeah, like, okay. And so we got together, we did the read. It is a beautiful piece. It's even more poignant out loud. And so we said, great. We don't have a director though. And then that night I was having anxiety dreams about how I, as a producer, was going to have to tell a director how to do this piece right, because I've been hanging on to it and I think it's special. And I woke up and I went, well, that would be a terrible move on my part, right? Just to be that overbearing producer who's like sticking her nose in all this business. So I thought, well, maybe that's a sign that I should direct it. If I care so much about how it's being executed, maybe that's my sign. So I called the actors and I was like, can you start tomorrow? And they both went, actually, yeah. And then we just started the next day and dove right in. And it was a very intense rehearsal process. I think we had 1 day off basically until the show opened, because, we were cramming all of our rehearsal basically into half the time. But they did such a good job. They're such pros. By the time we got to Tech Week, it was as if we had had a full rehearsal run. And yeah, that's how I ended up directing it. I was having anxiety dreams about being overbearing to another director. For Lost Lake, it revolves around 2 main characters, Veronica and Hogan. Veronica is a nurse in New York City, or nurse practitioner, and she's trying to find a affordable lake cabin to take her kids to vacation over the summer. And Hogan is the owner of the cabin. And it's very dilapidated. He's got a lot of family drama. And basically, in the course of trying to rent this lake house and subsequently renting it and bringing her children up, they initially clash over totally different backgrounds, a lot of, misunderstandings based on just culture differences, things like that. And they, over the course of the play, develop a friendship. I don't want to give too much away, but I would say that a major theme in this piece is the power of just finding a friend. The theme for the season actually was the power of human connection. So this lined up perfectly with what we were going for. And I think one of my favorite things about the piece is the fact that it revolves around them developing a friendship. A piece like this would normally go another way and perhaps turn romantic, things like that. I really like that David Auburn kept it to just two people connecting in the most simple way possible. And as you meet them and as you get to know them through the play, you realize that they are both struggling with very serious problems in their personal lives. And in finding a common ground within their struggles, that's the basis for their bond and for their friendship. And I just think it's a very poignant, beautiful piece that they have that. The two actors in this play are both fabulous. The first for playing Veronica is Lisa K Tomlinson, who I have been trying to get into a Crimson Square production for years, and this one finally worked out. And then the actor playing Hogan is Craig Bachman, who is a transplant from New York City, and has been such a delight to work with. I don't know him for as long, but from everything I've experienced working with him, it has just been an absolute delight. They're both so wonderful. They bring such heart and unique work to these characters. They really make the show. I feel like they elevate this show beyond just a slice of life to something a little bit larger, and it feels a little bit more like you're witnessing something very special each night. I'm blown away by them. As a director, I get a lot of credit when the show goes well, but honestly, I have to give it to them because they made my job so incredibly easy. Two of the most directable actors I've ever worked with. They were, just the work is so high level, and they are both such pros, and they know what they're doing, and they were so ready to collaborate and explore and play, and it was really a treat to work with them. I think what I like most about David Auburn's writing is that he takes something relatively simple and he really adds a lot of depth to the characters so that something that seems simple becomes bigger than that. The complexities of the characters he's written, I mean, his most famous piece is Proof. Obviously, most people know that show. But it's similar in that way of, he took people dealing with, for example, in Proof, like the death of their father. But he made the characters so interesting and so vivid that it becomes more than just a family dealing with the death of their father. And I feel like it's very similar for this piece. In Lost Lake, it's two people trying to get through a difficult time in their lives, which could be something so simple and so everyday that why would someone write about it? And yet he's created Veronica and Hogan, who are so interesting and funny and touching. And you really, you're rooting for them, you're embarrassed for them. I mean, you experience so much with them because he's made them as people so vivid and unique. And so it's a far more interesting ride than I think a different playwright with a similar premise. I think what I would love for the audience to take away from this piece would be to not underestimate the profound benefit we get as human beings reaching out to help out another human being. I feel like, especially given the last few years and the isolation that everyone experienced, the stress that everybody experienced, the general fear of just all the various things from the pandemic to global events, you name it. I think it's incredibly important for people to be reminded that, reaching out to help a stranger or reaching out to help a neighbor can have a lasting effect on a person's life. You never know if you are saving that person's life that day. And I think that's what I would like to sort of have audiences take away from this, is just to have that thought refreshed in their minds, so that as they go throughout their daily lives, perhaps they're a little bit more willing to connect with somebody that they might not normally reach out to. Because, like I said, you never know if you are saving that person's life that day. Everybody is struggling in their own way. And I think it's good to be reminded of that we are all experiencing that. And that we are not alone, and that we can make sure in our own little way that somebody else knows that they're not alone. And I think that that's a very important piece of humanity that's been lost a little bit over the last few years with everything that's gone on and how difficult it's been. So that's what I would love for audiences to take away if possible. During the shows, opening night, I'm usually just very nervous. Even if I'm just producing, I'm usually nervous because I just want everything to go well. I know how hard everybody has worked, and I want everyone to walk away feeling accomplished and happy and proud of themselves. So I'm always a little bit of a nervous wreck on opening night. But for this show, as the director, when I watch it night to night, and I do try to watch it every night, I really love watching what changes every night. I think, like I said, that's the cool thing about live theater, is that it's never the same show. And mistakes can be awesome. Like little mishaps can bring moments of genius out of any one of these actors, and especially with actors this capable. So it's been really a fun adventure to kind of see like what happens, if we have a couple set pieces in this show, and if the setup for one of them, it moves slightly and it's not where it's supposed to be or whatever, it tends to bring really interesting moments. Getting to see them deal with there's a lot of behavior in this show, so a lot of the physical behavior, just getting to see them deal with it night after night and how it changes over time, depending on how it's going up there. It's all been really fascinating to watch. So I tend to sit in the audience and kind of see what happens. I think that's a luxury because I am in capable hands with these actors. I don't have to stress about something going horribly wrong. I have been involved in other projects where, I wasn't with as experienced of actors, and if something goes wrong, it could feel far more disastrous. Or, one time I was producing a show where the couch, unbeknownst to anyone in production, the couch was a full fold-out futon, and one of the actors accidentally leaned on it, and it opened all the way out into a bed, and nobody could fix it for the whole first act. And that kind of thing could be really scary. This show, thankfully, doesn't have anything like that, so it's been mostly fun just to watch, and with curiosity as to what's going to shift and what moments of magic will happen in that show. I think viewers should come see the show because the work being done, the acting is so excellent. So it's just a joy. It's funnier than you'd expect for a drama, especially a two-hander drama of this style, slice of life. And I really think that the audience reception so far has been that everybody is so glad they came to see it. I think the theme of the play, being reminded to take care of your neighbor, to take care of your friend, to reach out to a stranger, to have a moment of kindness or to connect with somebody, is something that we are all needing. So I feel like it's a good way to be reminded of your humanity in a bit. And it's a fun night out. And I think that everybody should try to come see it if they can. Well, Crimson Square is currently the resident theater company at Beverly Hills Playhouse, which is a beautiful historic little theater in the middle of Beverly Hills. We have wonderful support from the owner here, Alan Barton. So I just wanted to say a quick thank you to him because he gives us a lot of rehearsal space and lets us use these stages. And we have a lot of access to actors because there's an acting school that lives here also. It's a very unique little creature. I'm going to call it a creature. It feels like a creature. And I think that people should come check it out. We really are excited to meet new audiences. Every show we expand a little. And it's been very cool to see who comes around from the neighborhood, who comes around when we have new works. We love hearing audience feedback. Most of our staff is generally there, so it's pretty direct. You can really get involved. You could talk to the playwright, talk to the director. Obviously David Auburn is not here because this is not an original work. He cannot come out. We could not bring him out to see this, but whenever we have world premieres, things like that, our opening night is usually like one big party, and it's just it's a fun thing to be a part of. So I really would encourage people to come experience it. I think that the live theater experience is a unique format because it is a moment in time that will never be repeated exactly the same way. You can't rewind live theater and watch a great moment again. It just lives there for however long it exists, sort of in the ether and in the minds of the audience and the performers, and then it's gone. So I think the fact that it is so ethereal and so fleeting makes it really special. Scarcity brings value. So I think that it's one of the most valuable performing arts mediums because of that. It's a special thing to watch a show and know that you and the people in the audience with you and the actors on stage with you are experiencing something that no one else will ever experience quite like that. And I think that's really unique, and I think it's something that just is not, you can't replicate it, and that makes it really, really cool. My name is Faye Viviana. I am the director of Lost Lake, currently running at Beverly Hills Playhouse. I am also the executive producer of Crimson Square Theater Company, and I cannot wait to meet you. I hope you come out to see our show. We run through October 9th for this show. You should join us the whole season. We also oftentimes have free cookies, so if you like snacks, come see our show, and I can't wait to meet you. I hope that you come and experience one of our theater nights with us.